A quick new idea, daily, from the world's greatest TEDx talks. I'm your host, Atossa Leoni, and this is TEDx Shorts. How do you trace your ancestry when your culture was born out of centuries of violent displacement? Armin Schweigler is a professor emeritus of Spanish and Portuguese at UC Armin has spent a number of years working with the Palenqueros, an isolated community in Colombia, to uncover their African origins, which are rooted in the transatlantic slave trade. In today's talk, Armin shares his work with the Palenqueros to highlight the process and benefits of uncovering lost ancestral histories.
These people have had unusual lives, in part because they have been isolated, and worse still, even the Palenqueros themselves do not recall where they came from in Africa and who founded their village. They were freedom fighters. They speak their own language. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of how, through studying their language and ultimately also their DNA, we have managed to reconstruct their history and their origins with great precision. You're all aware, of course, that the slave trade was a huge undertaking that lasted roughly 400 years. There is now a new dynamic map on the internet that I encourage you to visit, and let me explain how it works. On that map, you see dots. And each dot represents a ship of 3 to 4 to 500 slaves. The life expectancy on the ship was short. A lot of these ships did not go to the United States. In fact, the slave trade was mostly a Latin American phenomenon, and Cartagena, the city where the Palenqueros ended up, was the New York City of the slave trade. So how did we manage to figure this out? Well, there were some initial clues that turned out to be key. Let me explain. To this day, the Palenqueros, when somebody dies, they dance around the coffin with drums and they go into trance. And they chant a chant that came from Africa. Chimang Congo, Chimariloango, Chimariloango de Angola, and so they go on. But as they chant, just like you, they do not understand what they sing. It is very much like Latin in church. Emotional content, but no real meaning in terms of words. I decided to study these songs close up. And here's what that song says. From the Congo people I am, from the people of Luango, from the Luango of Angola. And if you're familiar with the African map, then you realize that this is really one and the same region. It refers back to the old Congo kingdom. It refers to the Luango coast, which is adjacent, and Angola just to the south. But more meaningful still is this. All these people from these three regions spoke a single language, which we call Kikongo. A language still spoken today, but Palenqueros do not understand it anymore. Over the years, as I progressed with my research, we found more words in Palenque that linked us up with this old Congo region. The word for cattle is the same on both sides of the Atlantic. And in Palenque, the word for snake, nyoka, sounds very much like it sounds in the Kikongo language. So we gathered more and more evidence, 200-300 more such words. And it became ever clearer that there was a strong connection to this Congo. We couldn't really be sure whether all these people had come from the Congo or whether they came from other regions in Africa as well. So we had still doubt, even though we had learned a great deal. And that leads to the big jump that comes in 2010. This is the time when population geneticists had read linguists' articles, including my own, and they wanted to see whether our hypothesis was correct. And this was the moment when we began to team up with them. This included multiple teams from all over the world, but one person in particular, and Poor, was instrumental in this work. They collected data, and they collected data in Palenque and in Africa. And they obtained DNA from 42 population groups from all over the place. And then they also zeroed in particular, on this Mayombe region in the Congo, where I had said that the origins of these people must lie. And so, after months and months and months of work and analyses, the results came in. Are the people from Palenque really descendant from this very small community of Mayombe? We were right on target. The DNA data confirmed exactly, especially for the male population in Palenque, what we had suggested. So what does all of this really mean for us? Well, it means a lot of things. For one thing, it means that history once lost almost completely can now be reconstructed again using language, using DNA, and other information. But perhaps more importantly, they too now have their own story. And so that stigma has fortunately vanished. And not only that, but the Palenqueros have now become famous to the point where the UNESCO now protects this village officially. Even President Obama met up with them, something unimaginable 30 years ago. And so now, I have a dream. And the dream is as simple as it is powerful. And the dream is to unite my Palenquero friends with their distant ancestors in the Congo.
The TEDx talk you just listened to was recorded at a TEDx event in Irvine, California. All TEDx events are independently organized by volunteers who believe in TED's mission of ideas worth spreading. Special thanks to the organizing team at TEDxUCIrvine. Want to listen to the full talk? Find Armin's talk and more at ted.com/TEDxShorts. I'm Atossa Leoni. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.